This conference will now be recorded.
I think we're in.
Okay, this is Linda Montgomery, Chair of South Central Public Health District. Having the hour of 1:30 p.m. arrived, I will call the meeting to order. Yvonne, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Linda. Blaine County,
Present, thank you.
Camas County, Caja County.
Here.
Gooding County,
Present.
Jerome County,
Present.
Lincoln County,
Did you say Lincoln?
yes,
Present.
Minidoka County,
Present.
Twin Falls County,
Present.
and medical consultant.
Okay, thank you. Having established a quorum, we will begin the meeting. I want to review a couple of items of importance. When you're not speaking, please mute your phone. Everyone, please silence your phone so we don't get interrupted with phone calls. I'd appreciate that. And we will go into the non-action item, but before I do that, I want to outline just a little bit of criteria as to what we will be following. Individuals wishing to provide public input matters regarding the South Central Public Health District Board of Directors shall, upon entering the room, this is when you've been called in to testify, wait to be recognized by the moderator, which Bob is going to serve as the moderator, approach the podium and the microphone, state your name and where you reside. You will have 2 minutes for testimony, and you will be given a 30-second time warning. At the end of that 30 seconds, the moderator will stop your comments and ask that you leave the room. The reason we're asking you to leave the room is we fall under Governor Little's 10-person requirements. And we are required to maintain that number in the room. And so this way it'll give everyone a chance to come in and testify. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to submit your testimony and also being there in person. And we appreciate your feelings and your thoughts. And I remind everyone, be courteous and kind to everyone around you. This is a very important decision, and the health board is doing the best they can to make the decision for everyone. At this time, I will turn it over to Bob to serve as moderator. And so if you would like to be call in the first testifier, that would be great.
I believe we are ready to invite the first person in. Number one, drop. You got number two?
We need to turn up Bob's mic a little bit.
Yeah, come on in. Ready? We'll start.
Good evening, panel, or afternoon. My name is Gary Carkin. I'm from Twin Falls County. and I am against the mask mandate. Number one, I served 22 years in the military. I fought for the freedom of choice. I did not fight for the freedom of mandates. Number two, legislatively, mandates can be made. You guys have no authority whatsoever to make mandates. Number three, the COVID is 98% survivable. Abortions are 100% non-survivable. You guys need to get your priorities straight, what you should be fighting for. You should be fighting for the rights of the unborn, not for the rights of people that have the right to make their own choice. I wish I had a thing where I could show you an illustration, but there are different types of masks to protect you for different kinds of things. So you have one for protecting against gas, you have one for protecting against insecticides, and then supposedly the most deadliest killer that you guys are trying to push, COVID, you have a little mask that does nothing. It says on the box that the mask does nothing. So if you're going to push for something, you need to push for something that is legitimately true, not push a narrative that instills fear in everybody. I'm asking that you consider what is being said today. I know some of you already have your minds up, but please open your minds to what people have to say. And before you make any votes, get on your knees and pray to God, because God has the final answer, not you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Okay. My name is Glenn Thorne. I'm a Navy veteran. I'm a proud member of our city's fourth group. You guys need to know what that is. You guys can ask Greg Lansing. What y'all doing is wrong. It's 100% unconstitutional. 6 months in jail for not wearing a mask. Are you serious? Are you guys trying to cause an uprising? That's what's going to happen. I have a question. Last year, according to the CDC, over 488,000 people died from cigarette smoke. What are you guys doing in our community about public smoking? Not a damn thing. It's money motivated. What really pisses me off is that you guys are only allowing 40 people to speak. If what you guys are doing was legit, everyone has the right to be heard. That's what I fought for. And it's pure bullshit what you guys are doing. I encourage you to do what our city council did. Our city council, what they did was legit. You guys passed this in 24 hours and tried to sweep it under the rug, and half the city doesn't even know what we're going to build right now. There's a mass out there of 200 people that want to speak, and you won't let them speak. That's wrong. Unconstitutionally, it's wrong. If you guys have any authority, but you don't, you would let them speak. Our city council heard our words. They didn't even listen to half the people they didn't need to. They said, based upon what we said, they will go back and hear education and listen and try to get more educated on how to stop this. Not going to listen to it from your guys' head doctor who all he does is what's a family doctor. What does he do? Babies or Shane will speak on that later, I'm sure. But what you guys are doing is pure bullshit. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. And if you guys have, I have any say, any of you guys being, any of you guys pass this, I hope you're fired immediately.
Thank you. Next.
Okay, the monitors are not working out here.
Are we supposed to introduce ourselves first? Okay, Shane Class. First of all, I just appreciate you guys being here. I know that your job is a difficult one, that you're going to face a lot of backlash today, and I do not envy you. I'm not here to admonish or point fingers. I'm just here to remind you of a couple things that you may need to take into consideration before you vote on this. Idaho Constitution states that the legislature has the right to legislate. There are 3 equal branches of government. The legislative process is very clearly outlined in the Constitution that the legislature, the House or the Senate, can bring a bill to law, and that it has to go through the House, through the Senate, and then put before the governor to veto or to sign. The legislature cannot give away any power that it does not itself possess, which means even if there is a law on the books that says that you have the ability to do this, it's null and void, because when the Constitution and the law come in conflict with each other in Idaho, as it is throughout the rest of the United States, the Constitution wins. If you have to go to an attorney to make a decision on whether or not this is something that you can do, should do, have the right to do, I think you already know the answer as to whether or not you're infringing on people's individual liberty. And so I plead with you, please respect our liberty first. I understand these are trying times and you're under a lot of pressure, but there are other ways, and you've got to find other ways, because you cannot legislate under fear. You have to put liberty first and then determine what measures to take. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing us today. I really appreciate those that you allowed to come in and speak. My name is Travis Johnson. I live in Twin Falls, County. I was born and raised here. I can tell you that this community, I have seen change and grow. I can tell you that this mask mandate that you're trying to put forth, even though you don't have the right to, piggybacking off of what Shane had to say. Only encourage division among our neighbors in other cities. That's all that it will do. You'll have neighbors turning against neighbors. We will have challenges with the police departments, with the county sheriff's departments. I've spoken with some members up there. They're not excited about this either. It's not the mask, guys, it's the mandate. When asked to wear a mask, I think most of us will do so where we need to, where we feel we need to, we will social distance. I think a lot of people are doing that. I think that if we're asked to, and if we're in as a community, we will do those things for ourselves. We can make those decisions for ourselves, but a mandate is not the answer. And that's really all I had to say. I'm not going to plead with you, and I'm not going to ask you. I will tell you that if you do put this forward, there will be consequences for it legally. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Dave? Dave?
Should I go ahead and begin?
State your name, please, Bert.
My name is Paul Thompson. I'm a citizen of the city of Twin Falls, and I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak before you. I know I'm limited in time, so let me get straight to the point here. Listen, the misdemeanors that you're presenting in these two drafts, they seem extreme and unnecessary for civil people. No law at any level has the authority to contradict or be inconsistent with our Constitution. You state in the drafts that the World Health Organization, you cite them as being an authoritative voice. I just want to challenge that the World Health Organization has no jurisdiction over the United States or the state of Idaho, and it has no jurisdiction over my body. And they're speaking with an authoritative voice. Listen, to the same science that tells me that babies in the womb do not have the protection of personhood want me to accept the science that I must wear a mask. And I just want you to know that inconsistency is hard to understand. The orders that you have here, you cite that asymptomatic people might be possible for them to spread this virus. The word might is a pretty important word. If you're going to give us a misdemeanor on something that might happen, again, that seems of extreme. We are image of God bearing creatures. We are speaking creatures. We're expressive creatures. We're singing creatures. We're greeting creatures, and we're assembling creatures. It's my appeal to you that you not pass this mandate today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving us a chance to speak about how we feel. Mandating masks is,
Please state your name.
Rochelle Valencia, and I'm from Twin Falls. I just ask that it really not be mandated because we're already financially strapped due to the economy, and citing and making it a misdemeanor and a crime because we have a choice over our body of whether we decide to wear a mask or not. And people with health issues and severe traumatic incidents having their faces covered just increases their chance because all they're doing is they're breathing back in that bacteria over and over again if they're expected to wear it for a long length of time. I worked in nursing for over 30 years, and this is the most infringement I've ever felt in my life to be mandated to wear a mask. And being through what I've been through in life and putting that mask on my face just makes me feel like I'm suffocating all over again. And taking that right away from me as an adult and as a just having the choice should be my choice whether I want to wear a mask or not. So I ask that you not pass the mandated for masks. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, I am Shauna Tiberti. I am not a public speaker person. I've never done this before, so please forgive I'm not very eloquent, but I feel this is really important. I have 4 kids, and I'm the care provider for my disabled nephew. Unfortunately, I do understand COVID is a virus. It is here to stay. Just like any other virus that has come through, it's here. As people build up immunities to this, the cases are going to decline just like other viruses. I understand it's highly contagious. We don't know a lot about it or the long-term effects. But this happens with any new illness. We don't know what it's going to happen to our bodies. We don't know how it's going to impact us in the long term. It takes time to figure that out. But never before have we shut down our entire country, or has it been used as a platform to take our rights away. The same path should be followed for this virus, for it is from anything else in the past. We need to take care of our body. People can stay home if they're sick, social distance and wear masks if they choose to. And they need to live their life to the fullest every day. Nobody knows when it's going to be our last. I personally have 3 issues that make wearing a mask an issue, a problem. Okay, I should be allowed to make that decision. Okay, as far as if I were to put that mask on, it would compromise my system. And then if I were to get sick, I would have a lot of complications from that. On your box out front, it says, please put on a mask if you are sick. That's the point. If you're sick, then you should wear it. If you're healthy, you should not. My children should be allowed to live in the same free America that I was blessed to grow up in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's my sign, so you know.
My name's Amy, and I come before you today as a trauma survivor, professional that used to work with individuals with special needs, mental health advocate, and special needs parent. My greatest concern is the haste with which you are throwing this Band-Aid on the public. Health and Human Services, I sent an email to all the commissioners, suggests that a public open comment period for federal mandates be 60 days. 2 days is not an adequate amount of time for you guys to make a decision that affects people's lives. I also sent you guys a graphic showing you that the deaths that this disease causes is merely the tip of the iceberg compared to everything else that comes along with this disease. Famine, mental health issues, and several other issues. Please refer to that email. I have gotten more flack at Costco than I did when I had a 12-pound tumor removed in July, and I was in the hospital for 3 days mask-free. I run Magic Valley Non-Maskers. We have over 400 members that express their concerns to me about not being able to wear a mask and not being able to afford to go to the doctor to get a note. There's this thing called medical term presumption of risk. You leave your house during a pandemic, you put yourself at risk. People that are leaving their house are putting themselves at risk. Your mask does nothing for you but it's psychological game to make you feel safe. You should not be imposing your views on other individuals in the community, especially when there's trauma survivors like myself that cannot wear a mask. If it was so easy for me to just put one on and wear one, that's what I would be doing, because it's not worth everything that I put up with on a daily basis.
Thank you. Your time is up. Please take your sign. Is this your stuff?
Yeah, I'm coming back to get it.
Okay.
Thanks for being here today. Thanks for having us here today. My name is Donald Bryan, we're a longtime Twin Falls County resident, Hanson, Twin Falls. There's a few things going on here that everybody's probably touching on with you, and I'll touch on a few. First, there is science both ways on this, but I think it's skewed in a lot of ways. I point back to when we weren't seeing a big uprising in cases several months ago, not that long ago, when we weren't wearing masks, and we weren't seeing a big uptick in cases back then. It's a recent thing that's really grown, and that's why we're here today. But I'd ask you why. Why is that the case? Why, when we weren't wearing masks a minute ago, why didn't it spike like it has in the last month? I think I see more people wearing masks now than ever before, and that's still not helping. I'm not a scientist, so that's as far as I'm going with science. Then there's the law. This just isn't how it's done. This isn't a legislative branch. This isn't how laws are made. And I hope you do understand that there will be a lot of non-compliance with this. And that leads to my last point of South Central Public Health District does a good job for our communities and keeping people safe and healthy and doing a lot of great things for people. But you're also tasked with doing no harm. And this is doing harm. This will harm people. This might physically harm people. It's most definitely going to mentally harm people. And for that simple fact, if you forget everything else I said, do no harm. I believe that we'll do the right thing if we stay with that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Kim Johnson. I am from Jerome County. We are experiencing a new virus, and we are experiencing at this moment the typical viral season. We have always been allowed to practice personal responsibility in years past, and it should be the same this year. If a mask mandate is put in place, you will be forcing us who disagree to exercise our constitutional rights in resisting this. The Department of Health is not a voted on by the people position. You do not have the authority to make laws. While you have been given certain powers by local governing representatives, this does not include demanding medical devices such as the mask to be worn. I have the freedom to decline any medical suggestions, advice, procedures, and to force me to comply is medical tyranny. I think we still live in a free America, do we not? This being mask mandate is an infringement on our basic constitutional rights. Through the Department of Justice, we have the deprivation of rights under color of law, section 242. If a government entity which you are acting as representation of subjects any person in the deprivation of rights, privileges, or immunities covered under the Constitution, they will be held accountable with fines and or imprisonment. To impose a mask on individuals goes against one's individual rights, and should harm come to the person by the wearing of that mask, the entities enforcing that can be held liable. You are making a medical decision for me without my consent, and you can be held liable for that action. The mask has never been proven to be effective in reducing the risk of viral spread, though it has been politicized this year. It is quite sad to see our local entities perpetuating this. There are many other viable and reasonable options in educating the populace and personal responsibility during viral seasons without violating our constitutional rights. This virus, which has less than a 0.5% mortality rate, like every other virus we have experienced, new and old, needs to run its course. Suppressing and or overtaxing our immune system by mask wearing will only make matters worse. We are seeing masked and unmasked alike getting sick. This virus is no respecter of person or mask. There are many better solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I'm Elizabeth Lees. I'm 80 years young. I did everything that I was told to do. I nearly died. I got COVID. I'm also a CNA, by the way. I got COVID and double pneumonia. My doctor said I'm lucky to be alive. There's studies that have been done that the masks do not help. God created our bodies to be loved, to be touched, to be hugged. That's what keeps our immune system going well. In 2004, I went to the Philippines to live in a village for 6 weeks of 200,000 of the poorest of the poor. I was not as good a health as I was before this hit. I spent lots of time with people dying of TB. No, I didn't wear a mask. I didn't wear gloves. And that was also the time during the swine flu in 2004. This is ridiculous. You are taking and creating sickness. The reason the numbers are going up is because we've been forced this social distancing, the masks, and I watch people with masks always having their hands on their face. What good is it? We go to the grocery store. Yes, the clerk has her gloves on, but she touches everything that we take home. We don't know if she went to the toilet and washed her hands. So quite frankly, I'm fully against it. And if you want to find me, that's fine. I will go down hollering. I trust God Almighty, and I would pray that all of the rest of you do too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought this was America. I didn't know we were coming to Nazi Germany again. I come from a very military family, clear back to Spanish American War. What do you think this is making them feel like? The men and women that have given their lives, and yet you like to create.
We'll keep your thoughts in our thoughts.
Pardon?
I said, we'll keep your thoughts in our thoughts, so thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Shailene. I emailed a lot of people yesterday and talked about my path with masks. I worked at our local hospital, and because I chose not to get a flu shot while pregnant, I was required to wear a mask the whole time. After almost 8 months of wearing the blue mask that a few of you are wearing, I ended up getting a lung infection to the point that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get off my bathroom floor. I have 2 small kids that I take care of, and I couldn't move. And my doctor very quickly told me it was because I was wearing a mask 12 hours a day, 7 days a week while I was working. The thing with the blue mask that I'm seeing, a lot of people don't seem to understand you're supposed to wear them for 30 minutes at a time and toss them. I see them in my child's school being worn all day long, touched, sneezed on, rubbed in their eyes. It's not helping. When you work at the hospital, you are properly trained in PPE. You're trained how to put gloves on, how to take them off, how to put a mask on. We are also fitted with N95s. Put a mask on your face and they spray something in your face. You can smell it, the mask doesn't work. I could guarantee all of you I could spray perfume and you smell it. It's not working. Please don't make us criminals. Don't make my kids criminals by not wanting to wear masks, because we won't. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sylvie Ray, resident business owner in Haley, Blaine County. I consider myself a scientist. I use the scientific method. I have a biology degree, worked in biotechnology, and now run an herbal business. I've spent thousands of hours investigating biology and reading medical journal articles. Being tasked with this very important decision, I assume you all have a biology degree and that you have the ability to read scientific articles as well. You must all have done extensive research into the randomized clinical trials published on the effectiveness of masks for both source control and to prevent infections in healthy people. You obviously have been faced with the fact that not one actually scientific controlled trial has found any significant difference in infection rates from wearing masks. I'm not talking about observational studies with tiny sample sizes and bad methods. Some of these have even found a higher infection rate when the healthcare workers wear cloth masks versus surgical masks. You all know this? Then why the obsession with masking our entire population? What is going on here? Are you really threatening jail time for this? What is driving this order? Pressure from the governor? Pressure from citizens with no biology education and completely consumed with fear? The hospital's begging you to do something, anything, even if it's something that doesn't work and couldn't possibly make a difference? Here are the hard facts. The medical literature for the past 45 years has been consistent. Masks are useless in preventing the spread of viral disease, and if anything, are unsanitary objects that themselves spread bacteria and viruses. Mandating mask usage will not reduce the infection rate. It will not reduce hospital admissions. It will only anger the population and cause them to lose trust and respect for you. If you at all care about the public, if you care about our health, you will vote no on this order and instead go back to the drawing board and consider other options that would actually make a difference. I do not consent to forced masking, and I will not comply with unlawful edicts from unelected officials.
Thank you.
My name is Esther McLaughlin. I live in Blaine County. I live in the city of Haley. Our source created its children in the image of its divine perfection. Our breath is the spark that animates the physical form and is a direct connection to our Creator. When the physical form sucks oxygen through a resistant force, like a mask, it sends the body into a pseudo-hypoxic state, a lack of oxygen. This stimulates the sympathetic mimetic drive, which is also a sympathetic tone known as fight or flight. The stress on the body raises cortisol levels and suppress the immune system. There are many famous people that talked about historic reoccurrence. George Santayana said, "Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it." I'd like to take you back in time, 87 years to Germany. There was a man named Joseph Goebbels. Hitler appointed him Minister of Propaganda. His job was to exert control over news media, arts, and information. His tactics were anti-Semitism, attacks on churches, attempts to shape morale, and close businesses that were considered non-essential to their war efforts.
I just called the phone number.
In time. Will you perpetuate these abuses on humanity, or will you stand with your brothers and sisters and say, no, this is not right? We all have a right to go ahead and say, we don't agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Phil Rainey, Haley, Idaho. I own and operate a hyperbaric medicine facility there. I've been in business for 8 years doing that. And we deal with science, chemistry, biology, and physics. I'm here today to talk about something that I believe is getting missed in this whole ordeal. We treat a lot of traumatic brain injury and PTSD, and it comes in various signs and shapes and sizes. We also treat autism. And I think something that is getting missed is that there's a huge population out there that cannot tolerate masks or shields. I deal with that. I see that every day. These are some images of brain SPEC scans that are taken of some of these people. And they, you wouldn't know them from anyone else. These don't show up on MRI. They're SPEC scans. They're very expensive. They're about $5,000 a copy, and they're not covered by insurance. So these folks have images and have injuries that we treat, and many of them don't tolerate masks. A lot of them do, but you don't know until you do that. There's a lot of people out there that didn't know whether they could tolerate a mask until this whole mandate happened. So I'm not saying that people shouldn't be wearing a mask. I'm just saying that please consider those folks and their tolerance or intolerance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak today. I appreciate that. I just wanted to recognize that your concern here is for our health, for the health of the community, and I appreciate that. I'm here to ask you to respectfully consider that those of us who have chosen not to wear masks also very much have the health interests of our families in mind. We've spent hours researching, looking into the issues. We know our families better than anyone else. We know our children and what their issues may be with their lungs, et cetera. I'm very concerned for the health of those workers when I go to the store and I see those who have to wear a mask all day long. Masks, so many problems, headaches, respiratory issues, low oxygen levels, rotting teeth, just to name a few. And like I said, I believe that as individuals, we are the ones who need to we're the only ones who can make health decisions for ourselves. We appreciate recommendations, but no one else has the authority to make a health decision for me, for my children, except for me and my husband. I am also wanting to say that it's inconceivable to me that the police would have any part in getting involved in these issues. A couple of months ago, one of my friends in Boise found that next door to her was living a man. The police came. He was a sex offender with 3 warrants out for his arrest. They talked to him, said, "We can't take you to jail right now because of COVID. We'll meet up with you later." And why in the world would they be taking, even threatening to put me in jail for not wearing a mask if they can't take the real criminals to jail? So please consider that. Also, I have concerns about the trustworthiness of the test. I've heard of more than quite a few results that were questionable, false positive testing, and from what I understand, we're more likely to die from being struck by lightning than from this virus. I'm sorry for those who have been affected by it, but I believe that ultimately we are responsible for our own decisions. Thank you very much for letting me speak today.
What is the name and residence of the last speaker?
Oh, ma'am, your name and where you're from? I'm sorry, Danny. Go ahead. Okay. Yes, my name is Jody Cruz. I'm from Buell, Idaho.
I'd like to start by saying that I appreciate y'all letting us speak today and have a minute to speak our grievance against what's on the table here. My name is Matthew Beaver, and I live in Gooding. And I pastor the Solid Rock Baptist Church there in Gooding as well. And I'm here today to say, as a spokesman for Solid Rock Baptist Church, as a citizen of Gooding and a citizen of the United States, that I do not support a mandate of any kind. I moved here last year from the state of North Carolina, and I've seen the effects of liberal policies such as this mandate. And I don't want to see Idaho turn into the same state that I moved from. To think that I could be fined $300 for 6 months in jail potential for not wearing a mask is crazy to me as a citizen of this country, the state, and the county that I live in. I love this land, this state, the county I live in, and to think again that there's a policy on the table criminalizing me for exercising my constitutional rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness dumbfounds me. As a pastor, a citizen, we support our law enforcement. We're heavily involved in our law enforcement there in Gooding with the city as well as with the county. And we often have prayer time for them, support them, and talk to our sheriff there very often about things going on in our community. And to think that that would potentially put those that we support in a position to have to enforce these things is not good in my honest opinion. Just to consider that. But in closing, I want to say that you guys are in our prayers. I appreciate, the concern for the overall health of our communities. And, as a Christian, as a Bible believer, as a pastor, I have, those things. So you are in our prayers, and I appreciate your time today. And just go on record that if it does pass, that I intend not to. Thank you.
Next.
Do you want my name and where I live?
Name and where you live.
Okay, Leslie Manukian from Ketchum.
Okay.
And I understand you three are board members and you three are not, is that correct? Okay. I totally appreciate that you all are in a very difficult position. I want to talk about two things. One is history, and two is the tests that are being used. So if you look in history, the doctors have always clearly tried to do their best. But if you look in history, there was a time when we x-rayed pregnant women's pelvises just to see if the baby, how it was positioned. We now know that's insane. Doctors have prescribed drugs like the thalidomide for morning sickness, which ended up causing birth defects in thousands and thousands of children. In recent years, we've seen the Viac scandal, which some people estimate took up to 500,000 lives in this country alone. Every year, we lose tens of thousands to opioids. I'm not trying to condemn medicine. I'm simply reminding us all that medicine and science are conducted by human beings who are fallible. We realize that we've made mistakes. Sometimes those are honest mistakes. Sometimes people in positions of power succumb to hubris. Sometimes they succumb to special interests and things like that. To make decisions that affect our lives on such a deep level, on the basis of that alone, doesn't make sense to me. When we look at the science, I'm sure that the people who are advising you all have plenty of science on their side, saying that mask mandates work. But there's plenty of science on the other side. Just yesterday, a study was published that showed that examined 3,000 people who wore masks all the time when they left the house, and 3,000 people who never wore masks. It was in Denmark. It was probably the first controlled study that's ever been done. And that controlled study showed that there was no difference between the two groups who wore masks all the time and didn't. Literally, it was 1.8% contracted COVID and 2.1% who contracted. That's not statistically significant. And the other study that was just done was on US Marines. Those US Marines, they had them on lockdown, quarantine, and restrictive social distancing, as well as continuous mask wearing. The people who didn't.
I'll have to interrupt, man. We're time's up.
Okay, but the people who didn't abide by any of those things in the test, they were less likely to get sick than the people who were in the test. Can I just ask one question? Do you know what the cycle threshold is on the test that St. Luke's is using?
No.
Do any of you know what the cycle threshold is? It's the number of times that a sample is
Excuse me,
taken.
ma'am, your time has expired.
Their time has expired, man. You'll have to, we can't, we're beyond what we're allowed. We've allowed 2 minutes and that's all. We want to get as many of the folks in can talk.
I understand. Can I just say one last thing,
No,
please, on the
I'm
cycle
sorry,
threshold?
your time is up.
St. Luke's is using a cycle threshold of 37, and Dr. Fauci said that anything over 35 is garbage. It means that people are
Excuse
not.
me, your time has expired. Please exit the building, the room.
Next, please.
You're up, Linda.
My name is Tatiana Gray, and I live in Blaine County. I'll speak to that county since it seems to be steamrolling this effort at this board. The city of Haley enacted its face covering ordinance on July 1st this year, and most of Blaine County was soon to follow. Since then, the compliance with the face covering mandate in the county has been near 100%. Fear and social shaming are ever present once you drop over the Timmerman Hill. We had an extremely busy tourist season in Blaine County this year, despite the virus. We also had all of our regular trades and labor coming to work from your counties. Then the weather changed, the tourist season was over, and not as many laborers were needed. One thing remained constant since July 1st, the mask mandate. According to coronavirus.idaho.gov right here, the number of Rona cases in Blaine County remained flat from July 1st until shortly after the Labor Day, when SLAP hit and the cold and flu season started. Our state's own data shows that there's absolutely no correlation between face rag mandates and the number of cases, none. The busy tourist season did not increase the cases. The busy landscaping season did not increase the cases. So what increased the cases? The cold and flu season, which apparently does not care about the mask mandates. Imagine if we all put blinders on and pretended that sun stopped rising and we all had to live in the darkness. That would not change the truth that the sun keeps on rising, which apparently, and all it would do is make us all look pretty stupid running around in blinders. These face covering orders are just like the blinders. And the truth is that the upper respiratory virus season is upon us, just like it's been happening for millennia. The face coverings do not change or affect this truth one bit. The people have spoken many times by now, asking our public servants to cease cramming these types of orders down their throats. Yet the push continues for the sole purpose of fatiguing us into compliance with these measures. I implore you not to let Blaine County bureaucrats and medicrats to bully you into betraying your own constituents. Do not let Blaine County's tyrannical dream become your county's worst nightmare.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Michaels and I live in Twin Falls. I'm going to read my comments on the mask mandate. It's my feeling you are without authority to override the state's constitution, Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Public health employees and county commissioners do not make our laws. Our legislature makes our laws. Senate Resolution 101, line 44. Quote, the Senate reaffirms the right of all Idahoans to make health and safety decisions for themselves and their families, end quote. It is a violation of Idaho code to order a mandate and a penalty. According to Title 39, Chapter 90, Health and Safety. Chapter 90 is also called the Idaho Health Freedom Act. Section 39-9003, Statement of Public Policy. The power to require or regulate a person's choice in the mode of securing healthcare services or to impose a penalty related thereto is not found in the Constitution of the United States of America and is therefore a power reserved to the people pursuant to the 9th Amendment and to the several states pursuant to the 10th Amendment. The state of Idaho hereby exercises its sovereign power to declare the public policy of the state of Idaho regarding the right of all persons residing in the state of Idaho in choosing the mode of securing healthcare services free from the imposition of penalties or the threat thereof by the federal government of the United States of America. Section 39-9003, number 2. It is hereby declared that the public policy of the state of Idaho, consistent with our constitutionally recognized inalienable rights of liberty, is that every person within the state of Idaho is and shall be free to choose or decline to choose any mode of securing healthcare services without penalty or threat of penalty by the federal government.
Our time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get to finish the second
No,
page.
that's fine.
Would you like a copy?
I think we've already seen that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello, ladies. My name is Linda Zeiderbelt, and I live in Twin Falls County. And I know you have seen my letter of notification we gave you guys last week. So I'm not going to go there. And I know that there's probably 100+ people out there that you're hearing a lot of the same things over and over again. So I'm going to touch on some numbers. And these are the total deaths in the USA. Everything from suicide, car accidents, every death in the USA. So in 2018, there was 2,839,205. In 2019, there was 2,855,000. As of November 13th, there's only been 2,465,323. That is a total amount of death. So even if we, a month and a half, we get up to the 2019 numbers, where are the numbers of COVID in there? Where we're not seeing a big influx of numbers. So either people are not dying of suicide, they're not dying of car accidents, and now we have just everybody's dying of COVID. So I just want to point that out, that and this is from CDC, you can look it up yourself. These are their numbers. So the numbers are not jiving, which leads to a lot of mistrust. That's the reason why people are showing up, is we're not really trusting what's going on. The other thing is, Dr. Davis, this is a question to you, being an OBGYN. Do you not give all the mothers prenatal vitamins and teach them how to best take care of themselves? Do you not teach them how to take care of their child and educate them on how their system works, what their body's going to do? Why have we not heard from our medical staff other ways of taking care of our immunity system? We always hear about masks. We hear about the hot water and washing your hands, which I would like to say last time I was using the restroom, there's no hot water here. So why are you not teaching people about their immune system? Why are we not hearing from St. Luke's about our immune systems, just masks?
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the time to be able to speak and give you my thoughts. I'm not quite sure what we're doing.
We need your name and where you reside.
I am Tom Zeiderbelt. I reside in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Thank you.
You know, I was walking around out here visiting with people. There is a lot of irate people. And we are just to the boiling point. We are tired of our representatives not representing us. And the fact that you want to force a mask mandate on us, I'm just getting tired of showing up to all these events to speak my mind. It's like you guys don't want to hear, don't want to listen. But I'm telling you, the Great Depression was bad, but the worst part about it was the government tried to fix it and made it worse. And that's what we're doing here, okay? We're trying to put a Band-Aid on something. We can't run and hide from a virus. We're gonna have to deal with viruses all the time. If we look at South Dakota or Sweden and look at their way they handled it, they just handled it head on. We can't sit there and try to hide from a virus. I'm just glad I don't have kids in school because they would not be in school. I'd pull them out, and I would not allow them to be muzzled the whole time they're in school. This ridiculousness needs to end. We need to protect those that are vulnerable, but we don't need to muzzle all the healthy people. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Representative Christy Zito. Today I'm here as a citizen and also to represent some of the people in my district that are part of Falls County. I would like to point out that I understand that according to Idaho code, you do have the legal authority to enact the mandates and to impose fines and jail time. But I would also like to point out to you, as I'm sure you already know, that the Idaho Health Freedom Act makes it so that even though something is prescribed or diagnosed or whatever, the citizens of the state, in this state, have the right to exercise their God-given constitutional right to not comply if they choose not to. That the state of Idaho believes that as citizens of the United States, that we have the right to choose our own health care treatment as we see fit for ourselves and our families. I would also like to point out that just because something is a law, that does not mean that it is moral. Just because it is legal does not mean that it is moral. The example I will use is that if you commit murder, if you are to shoot a pregnant woman and the woman and the child would die, you would be charged with a double homicide. Yet in the state of Idaho, we abort 1,500 preborn children every year. Murder is immoral and illegal, except in certain circumstances. It's still immoral. And so I would urge you to please think very carefully about the steps that you may take here today. The citizens of this state and the citizens of this country are fully capable of making their own health choices and decisions. It is not our place to impose upon them something that you would not allow your neighbor to walk across the street and impose on you. You have been delegated an authority. You have been given the authority that I, as a citizen, and every citizen in this state have to act in our state only when necessary. The statistics aren't there. The numbers of death aren't there. We have conflicting information. I am on a conference call weekly with researchers from around the world and doctors. And the proof and the statistics just are not there that the actions and steps you're going to take will help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Alyssa, you're up.
Thank you, Representative. Allowing us to speak. I'm going to be speaking a short speech from a top pathologist. The name of Dr. Oh, sorry. My name is Chris Ronstadt. I live in Twin Falls.
Thank you.
All right. I'm reading a brief speech from top pathologist Dr. Roger Hodkinson. And he received his general medical degree from Cambridge University in the UK, MA, MD, B in chiropractic, where he was a scholar at Corpus Christi College. Following a residency in the University of British Columbia, he became Royal College Certified Pathologist, FRCPC, and also a fellow college pathologist, PAP. He is in good standing with the College of Physicians.
Well, I'm sorry.
Now, Hodkinson's comments were made during a discussion involving the Community and Public Services Committee, and a clip was subsequently uploaded to YouTube. Noting that he was also an expert in virology, Hodkinson pointed out that his role as CEO the biotech company that manufactures COVID tests, means I might know a little bit about all this. There is utterly unfounded public hysteria driven by the media, politicians. It's outrageous. This is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on an unsuspecting public, said Dr. Hutchinson. The doctor said that nothing could be done to stop the spreading the virus besides protecting older, more vulnerable people, and that the whole situation represented politics playing medicine, and that's a very dangerous game. Hodgkins remarks that social distancing is useless because COVID is spread by aerosols which travel 30 meters or more or so before landing, as he calls for society to be reopened immediately to prevent the debilitating damage being done by cause. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right.
Okay. My name is Elisa Atkinson, and I live out in Buell, Idaho. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity to come and speak today. I really appreciate the way you guys set this up to give us a voice. Thank you for that. I wanted to share a couple of concerns. I've spent several hours looking over your drafts and proposals. And the first concern that I have is I don't think these are necessary at this time. I'm a part of a parent organization in Buell. And when we first started our organization, our goal was to get rid of the mask mandate in our school. And over the last couple months, I've seen the community shift in its opinions. People who 6 weeks ago felt adamantly that we needed no masks are now arguing adamantly that we need masks. And so I wanted to say you guys have done a great job. I don't think, however, that these policies are in particularly going to impact the amount of people wearing masks in our communities at this time in public spaces. What they're doing in their homes is probably different from public spaces. I just don't think it's going to change anything. And that's after reading over the guidelines many times. My second concern is that sections 2A and section 3 are really concerning to me. As a mother, I really used to say that I am personally responsible to make sure that my children wear masks in public at all times. And if I don't, I could be criminally liable for misdemeanor charges. This means that if my 6-year-old goes to school and doesn't want to wear a mask, I could be charged with a misdemeanor. If my 16-year-old goes to work and takes off his mask, I could be charged with a misdemeanor. I recognize that it's not the intent of the board to criminally prosecute parents for the misbehavior of their children. And you could easily argue that it would be highly unlikely that this would happen. That is probably true. But your policy is written in a way that could allow for this. Good intentions do not create good policy. Good policies wisely chosen inspire penalties. With wisely chosen penalties inspire trust, but good intentioned policies with poorly chosen penalties promote fear and anger. In the coming months, with the vaccine becoming available and a population that is deeply skeptical of the safety of this vaccine, I'm concerned that it's really important that our communities trust the Board of Health. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
My name is Raquel Belknap. I live here in Twin Falls. Early when COVID started, I was actually, I'm kind of a science junkie. I read a lot of studies. I read more studies than my doctor has in the last 15 years. And I was reading, I was keeping up with the science and I was paying attention to math. And I found myself in a conversation with an explosive ordnance disposal expert trained very extensively in biologicals. And I brought up masking and he said, I don't believe him. I said, why? Because the very first thing they teach us on day one of biological training in my training is masks are 100% useless. They do virtually nothing. So I went down the rabbit hole and I read all the mass studies, all of the random controlled trials, every single one of them. There is not one that shows that masks are effective. They all show that they do nothing to slow the spread of respiratory illness. And if you look at the charts, if you put every chart of every community masking with mask mandates, whether they have them, whether they don't, next to each other, what you will see is a cycle. And that cycle remains exactly the same. The only thing that's different with each community is when the mask mandate was put in. The cycle remains the same, including Georgia and places that have zero mandates, places that have very well compliance have a lot. But I want to about the absurdity and the suppression of information, that we double down. There is so much information out there that this really isn't working, and we keep doubling down on it and suppressing that information. And we're suppressing the doctors who are successfully keeping their patients out of the hospital by treating early. And instead of having us worry about mask mandates, why don't we start looking at the doctors that are actually being successful, that have thousands of patients and almost no hospitalization and no deaths? But we ignore them and we take their information down, and we keep doubling down on this, and the science doesn't back it up.
Thank you.
That right?
Thank you.
Hey, Bill. Wow, Johnstone, Jerome County. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in another one of these meetings. So I want to take us back to the foundation of the nation. Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederacy, Constitution of the United States, Constitution of the State of Idaho. Constitution very clearly, if you've read the Constitution of Idaho, says you're not the legislature, you don't get to make law. Okay, so we'll start there. Not happy about this. UK COVID-19 cases in July of 2020, they required masks. Guess what? Their spike looks like our spike. Austria, COVID-19 cases, mask requirements in May. October, November, cases spike. Kansas City, Missouri region, 629 mask mandate. Guess what? October, November. Now we're a minute 53. We got 3 minutes? 2 minutes, okay. Mask mandate, we spike. Guess what? Ada County, July 2nd, we put in a mask mandate. Spike just looks like Twin Falls. The reality of this thing, people, have you ever heard of the World Economic Forum? You ought to go there and do a little research. COVID-19 is the tool to take over world government and to basically to transfer major amounts of wealth. COVID is a joke, wearing masks are a joke. I mean, that's personal preference, but you don't have the right to tell anybody to wear a mask. A doctor can write you a prescription, but he cannot make you take it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Joe Ray Walt, I live here in Twin Falls. I'm sure you've heard a lot of reasons for not mandating masks. I'm not gonna get into repeating those. What I am gonna do is tell you, I was a small business owner here in Twin Falls for 38 years. I know what it takes to start a business, grow a business, and maintain a business. This mandate is not going to help our small businesses. I'm not in this anymore, I'm retired, but I can tell you that the mask mandate will hurt our local communities. Another thing I would say, I think you guys all want to do something productive, help our communities. I hope you do. Where are the remedies? Why can we not? If I went to my doctor today and said, I want a prescription for hydroxychloroquine because I believe it'll help me get through this to prevent the virus or help me get through the virus, guess what? I can't get one in the state of Idaho because it's been banned. We've had doctors come down to the city here a week or so back and tell us hydroxychloroquine absolutely works. She was a doctor here in Idaho, but she says, guess what? I cannot prescribe it. So if you want to help, look at some of that stuff. The other thing I would say, what we've done during this epidemic to our senior citizens is criminal. There has got to be a way that family members and friends can visit those seniors in these homes. I think if you even polled the seniors themselves and said, if we let your family and friends come in, you're at risk. They would say, I still want to see them. We just passed through summer and these people couldn't see their friends and family. They could have met outdoors. Even today, there's places, most of these homes have big rooms that families could meet in. So I would say that, look at remedies. The other thing, I do not believe that our children should be going to school, and I don't have any kids in school, but I do have grandkids in school. Time is up. And look at some of those things that you can do that would be positive for our community. Thank you.
Board members, I have 2 points today, and I'll keep them brief and direct. First, on health and welfare. Oh, yes, yeah, Riker Herndon and first, on healthandwelfare.idaho.gov, the stated goal of this board is community health nursing and home health nursing to environmental health, dental hygiene, and nutrition. If this is your goal, then a mask mandate will fail to achieve it. The death rate of COVID-19 in Idaho is 0.94%. If this mandate passes, you will force people to expose their private medical information in order to identify themselves as exempt to anyone and everyone who asks why they aren't wearing a mask. Rape victims and victims of physical abuse who often cannot wear masks due to the trauma they have faced would be forced to relive their painful experiences. Perhaps most disturbing of all, this will set a dangerous precedent for removing the rights of citizens in order to accommodate the vast minority. If your goal is health-oriented, this mandate does not accomplish it. Second, in this mandate, you state it is the overall desire and request of the Board of Health South Central Public Health District that law enforcement educate the public about this order and its purpose. If that is true, then your enforcement choices were poorly made. How exactly will a $300 fine or 6 months in jail educate the public? How will making the choice not to wear a piece of ineffective clothing, a misdemeanor offense, get you closer to that desire? How will falsely imprisoning Idahoans educate anybody about anything? In closing, I'd like to ask you a question. What happens when this mandate doesn't slow down or stop the spread of the virus? What rights will you infringe next? If you pass this mandate, you'll be well on your way down the slippery slope of tyranny. I assume that you took these positions because you genuinely care about Idahoans. Please listen to us and get on with the good work of helping Idahoans. I advise you to turn to God and pray for his guidance.
Thank you.
Have you come to say, my name is Shanti. I'm from Twin Falls. I'm just going to read this so I don't lose track of what I'm saying. The data is in. Masks do not work to stop the spread of SARS-CoV-2. To say the medical field is in agreement that masks work is not true. There is no evidence. The data shows them to have no positive effect. It does not matter how loudly the CDC, the WHO, and other head-ups in the medical field say otherwise. I would like to respectfully mention that doctors are just people who are always discovering and learning more about how our bodies work. This is not a criticism. I am really grateful for doctors when I need them to fix a wound. But to blindly follow the medical field and the medical field themselves without following the data is foolish. Let's remember a time when doctors recommended cigarettes to treat anxiety. Doctors prescribed thalidomide during pregnancy, which caused birth defects. There are a few other things that were supposed to keep us healthy, like lobotomies, heroin for cops, bloodletting, drinking radiant water, gasoline for treating lice, morphine for teething, and mercury for syphilis. Fortunately, we know now about masks' effectiveness because we've had 8 months of lockdowns to observe, and this observation is invaluable. They don't work. If you pass the mandate, as health professionals, you will have joined the ranks of well-intentioned but mistaken medical professionals of the past who promoted cures and procedures which time has shown to be ineffective or even harmful. Please follow the real science and vote no. On a really quick personal note, I have 2 more seconds. I'm dedicated. And I want to share
Am I doing that?
Yeah, and mine must be making it echo a little bit too. I turned my phone. Sorry.
Turn up on your phone.
It's probably our two phones.
Well, I'll just end mine and call back in a minute. I'll just call you back in a minute.
She's muted.
Okay, continue on.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to share my personal experience. I'm medically unequal to wear a mask, and myself and my children have been touched at and threatened, told to go themselves by people who they don't understand. There's many more groups than just masks and masks. So they make assumptions. I had a gentleman at Costco say, "I'm a doctor. You look healthy to me, sweetheart." And like, it was very uncomfortable. Everyone was staring. Anyway, this happens all the time, and it's becoming a little more threatening every day. So please take that into consideration as well. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you being here and listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I got this mandate, I read it. And one of your whereas clauses, you say International Health Regulations Emergency Committee declared the pandemic emergency. That means lawyers. Dr. Tedros didn't declare it until March 11th, 2020. So what that tells me is that this is an international law emergency. They are trying to assert international law on the people of Idaho. Now, you people, district health people, according to Idaho law, you are a nebulous thing called a governmental entity. You're not part of the state. You are separate. We don't know what you are. But what we do know is that you are not accountable to the people of Idaho. We don't vote for you. We wouldn't even know that you're out there unless, except for this mandate thing. And since you included this international health regulations thing, that tells me that you are dancing to the tune at a different level, the international level, not domestic. As far as I'm concerned, you guys might as well be wearing blue helmets. You're not part of the state of Idaho. And but you're trying to pass this mandate under the Emergency Act. And it was Hitler who came to power, did emergency provisions after the Reichstag fire. And that's what they're trying to do here, is to institute international law. And you can look at the Border 21 program that was for the North American Union, where they were merging functions of government, because under environmental health, that's where this started. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and what.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize. I'm Jerry Helm from Twin Falls County. Twin Falls, I guess. And I just want to kind of say, I mean, you're wanting to mandate something that doesn't guarantee that I'm not going to get the virus. I mean, me wearing a mask is not a guarantee that I'm not going to get the virus. So since I feel like I live in a free country and I was given free will by the Lord above, that I should have the choice to wear that or not wear that. And there's several studies that have been put out recently that show that wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, if it's not worn properly, and 99% of us civilians aren't going to wear them properly because we're not in the medical field. That it's not going to protect us any more than if we don't wear one. So I feel like I should have that choice. If I want to protect myself from it, from getting it, then I should have the choice to wear it and not have it mandated and have me be penalized if I choose not to wear it. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready?
Marcia Hart, Blaine County.
And the first thing I want to talk about is how we manufacture truth these days. We're in a society that manufactures it by saying something over and over, whether it's true or not, until everyone believes it's true because they've heard it so many times. And your job is to know the difference. Not an easy job. I find I make mistakes a lot. And the conclusion I come to often is none of us are informed enough to really know the truth. However, what's legal and what's not is a little different. There's substantial evidence showing that masks are harmful. There's no good evidence statistically showing that masks effectively prevent the spread of COVID or any other virus. There is a lot of evidence from the studies of how oxygen deprivation, overload of carbon dioxide, toxification by breathing your own toxins back in, and allowing them to incubate in your mask are problems with wearing a mask all the time. For me, it's unethical, unconstitutional to force healthy citizens to abide by measures that can result in physical, emotional harm that impinge on their ability to move freely throughout society without discrimination. Measures that are meant to protect the community as a whole are ineffective if they hurt individuals in that community. It has to be a decision to wear a mask as a personal decision, not because it's mandated. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm going to read from this because we have so little time. And by the way, your sound system out there is very difficult for people that are very close, closely to that computer to be able to hear. Quite impossible. In the shorter term, I have nothing against wearing a mask, and I would tend to follow such administrative and decisions and restrictions primarily in order to be able to converse with others face to face and attempt to better define the depth of the problem in its entirety and search for alternative solutions than merely wearing a mask and maintaining social distance. In the longer term, we all need to understand there are bigger problems at play, and limiting our responses to the mask and distance issue is not going to help much. By the way, my name is Dan Henry. I'm from Blaine County, and I understand that Angie McCleary is listening in on Zoom. She will probably recognize me. She's seeing this on camera from the redundant power line open hearing of a month or so ago. The much bigger picture. International geopolitical developments directly affect the rollout of both, thank you, the coronavirus 19 pandemic and associated mitigations efforts. This has become a total numbers game, and with absolutely everything possible dealing with our individual and collective futures at stake, it's high time for questions about recounting not just presidential election results, but all statistics regarding caseloads and overwhelmed hospitals and deaths with and or without comorbidities, and for the same to be related to select counties in specific with complete transparency as regards the methods and means being utilized in collection of the same. We, the people, are much more concerned, especially at this juncture in history. The entire country, if not perhaps red state Idaho, has been completely politicized, and we are all amazed at just how much has been going on behind our veritable backs in Washington, D.C. and separate state capitals. Fact of the matter is, when the deep state openly acknowledges not only its actual existence, but unabashedly phrases and postures itself as the real savior of the American democracy and way of life, said individuals are provided backing, and said individuals are provided backing by the mainstream media, then the times are demanding that everyone. Thank you very much. Here is a copy of that Danish study. It was just published in medical journals. Here is a copy of an op-ed from The Hill, which relates this pandemic with, and here, so that we know, these are the clinical public things, and I do collect every day since March the data that comes out. So I would like to recommend that you have workshops. Talk to Eric Myers. You guys should have workshops in each county. I'll come. Got a lot of data.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Pamela Fadness, and I'm a resident here in Twin Falls. I'm a wife, mother of 5 kids, business owner, and a concerned member of our community. And I'd just like to, I felt it was really important for me to come. I've never done this before, but I felt it was very important for me to come today to share my opinion and my perspective. So I'd like to just ask you 5 questions this morning for you to consider. So first, my first question is, how many of you have had the virus? How many of you have had the virus? I have had it run through my family. I have many kids. We had it run through our family. We have quarantined 4 times, and we wear masks. We wear masks where they are required. We wear them when we're out in public. We do the social distancing, so we're following those guidelines. We still got it. I'm happy to say that we're all fine. We made it through it. Everybody's recovered. We've been okay. It's been different for each person. I have many, many friends who have had it. We are very involved in a large church. I have many, many friends there who have had it, and we've made it. We're okay. The second question is, are you willing to overstep your bounds and our rights? Because that's a scary place to be. There's going to be wasted time and money because there will be people who are going to file lawsuits. I'm certain of it. I've heard about it, people talking about it in the community. So that is to come. There is litigation. And then the other thing is we will remember. For people who are voted into positions, we will remember when it's full time. The third one is, will this cause greater harm to our communities? I believe yes. I listened to a professional this morning who said yes, it will. Fourth, how will you enforce this? How in the world will you possibly enforce this? I believe the ways that we will have to do this are going to inflict more disunity in our communities and cause more problems. And it's going to create just a lot of people pitting each other against one another. And then the fifth one is, can you guarantee us that this will protect our community? Can you guarantee us that this will? I said, we've been wearing it. It has not. And I believe that the answer has to be no. You cannot guarantee that this will do anything to protect us. I would like to just finally say, why don't we focus on another solution? Why don't we do some things that will protect those who are have greater risk? Let's instill some things that will help them,
Okay.
more deliveries, things like that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to invite the county commission here, but we'll go to the next step. So anyway, I want to thank you for taking comments on this. Again, I was going to tell the county commissioners, no one voted on you guys, South Central Idaho, to mandate anything.
We need your name.
Bill Chastain, 2205 South, 1800 East, Gooding, Idaho.
Thank you.
And but nobody like any custody. I've seen from the CSI to recommend this. Nobody agreed on any of this, but I do agree on what the county commission did with Elko County. They went and started talking about putting laws out. They told them, when you guys are voting in the marijuana place, it affects us. What the county commissioners are doing, they're not okay. But one, it's a federal law. There's a federal law against that. We've got a bunch of idiots in office now don't want to do that. But anyway, so when you do that, you're doing the same thing. You write a letter, as the county commissioners did, about accepting refugees. Again, it affects our county too. What goes on in Twin Falls affects Gooding and all these other counties. What I'm trying to say is, we are the United States of America, not maverick states of America, not maverick counties of America. It's time we get back together. And I just look at it that way is, so whatever they do, otherwise we need the jobs. The Elko disregarded the federal law about that. If we're in doubt about any laws or anything like that, or does the federal law require it? To start one legally down the line. We're undermining what the federal law is looking at. I'm like this lady here, she said, by mandatory this law, you're putting our law enforcement personnel in jeopardy. If you require a mandate there, the poor guys got to enforce it, and all it takes is one unstable individual to start a shooting. And I don't want to see that. Thank you for listening. It's no to that mandate. Thank you, guys.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Caesar Swallow. I live here in Twin Falls. I'm a business owner. You know, like you said, I think that we're gonna dump a huge burden onto our law enforcement imposing this. Not a lot of people are gonna want to comply with it, but it's gonna put them in unnecessary danger. And, it's gonna cause a lot of, say this, separation within the community itself. People are gonna draw lines, and it's gonna cause chaos. But the other thing I want to bring up is some of these numbers. The reason I have an issue with some of these numbers is because there's a financial incentive behind the COVID. So if there was an independent audit of St. Luke's, as far as what are these things getting COVID? What kind of treatment are we using? What are we doing? They're pushing this masking, but they're not saying, hey, we need to get healthy, we need to exercise, we need to, there's nothing, it's just cover up and be afraid. I don't think that's a good route to go. One thing, okay. Like I said, I think there needs to be an independent audit of the numbers from St. Coming from now within St. Luke's. Understand? I mean, it's a business. These people, if you think the hospital's your friend, go there without insurance to the emergency room and see how much help you get. I guarantee you're gonna go there, leaving bankrupt if you have any kind of major issue. They're not your friend. They're not here to help you. They are if you get sick, yeah, I understand, but at this last meeting, that chief of police, he had his numbers ready to go because they're already overrun. Their dispatch, they run the fire, they run the ambulances out of there, they run the police out of there. So with all those three things coming through one dispatch unit, what really needs to happen is they need to get another station where they can dispatch. Because he did everything but say, thanks guys. Thank you
for your time. I think, Bob.
That's the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Annie McWilliams. I live in Rupert. I came here today to speak against the mask mandate. If you take the emotional aspect and or the fear-mongering atmosphere created by the media, take a look at the actual numbers, there's no solid reason to mandate masks. In those current numbers published today, this virus has an average survival rate of 99.13% in Idaho. By the numbers, I have a better chance of dying from heart disease, cancer, chronic lower respiratory disease, suicide, opioid overdose, motor vehicle crash, a fall, a gun assault, a pedestrian accident, a motorcycle wreck, drowning, fire, or smoke inhalation. And I have a better odds of my house being struck by lightning. As for the argument that it is to protect those that are immunocompromised, my own daughter in 2001 was diagnosed with cancer at 8 years old. At that time, I knew it was my responsibility to protect her. It wasn't the school's responsibility. It wasn't the police responsibility. It wasn't the store's responsibility. And it definitely wasn't the responsibility of strangers that I had never met. I do not know. I've heard arguments that our hospitals are short-staffed due to employers being sick with COVID. Do they not wear masks? Do they not wash their hands? Do they not take precautions already? If masks were truly the answer, they would not be sick and just be short-staffed due to COVID. And to add on a $300 fine, so many people have already lost their jobs, their businesses, and entire industries have been shut down because of this. And due to the fear-mongering and extreme overreach of multiple extreme government. It's a sad day in the United States to think that I could be put into the same as domestic violence, drunk driving, and possession of drugs just because I choose to follow actual numbers and not wear a mask. And my opinion, to exclude this many people that are here to voice their opinion in the United States is sad. Every voice deserves to be heard and should be heard, and this board is not allowing these voices to be heard today. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you guys so much for hearing me. I'm the last one, so I'm supposed to make it big, right? My name's Erin Wilkins. I've been a nurse for 20 years, and I run my own practice called the Healing Center here in Twin Falls, Idaho. I work with a lot of my clients coming in sick with allergies. I know that your guys' slogan is to prevent and promote and protect, and I would love to see funds and allocations going towards actual protecting.
helping people learn how to build their immune systems up. I believe that the mask is a petri dish on the face, and I would love to see how people can build their immune systems up so that any diseases that come along, they're able to physically fight off within themselves rather than just trying to prevent something from happening to them. I think I would love to see just monetary resources filtered that way towards protecting the public instead of just preventing something, because we're all going to get sick at one point, but we can fight that off within us. So thank you so much for hearing me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That being the last one, on the comments that you've been handed from outside, we will.
We lost you, Lenny.
Let's read for the last 2 minutes of this public input time, some of the comments that have been left with us on paper.
These are the public comments. Is that
Yes, and 4, and I'm gonna go get the rest. There's a whole bunch more.
One, that's what that was for. Yeah.
I was just a timer.
Oh. Oh, yeah, you can say that there. He's leaving.
Does someone want to read a couple of the comments on the 4 masking mandate side?
You have Linda on the screen up there?
Yes.
I'll switch over there.
Thank you.
Everybody up on the road?
Brent, that nice policeman told me I ran that stop sign.
Okay, our 90-minute public input time has ended. I will call the meeting back into order for the Board of Health. I remind everyone that this is a public health board meeting. So at this time, we will turn it back to the board, and I will ask comments from the board members that are on Zoom or the phone to comment first. We will go down alphabetically. Blaine County.
This is Anjani McCleary, Blaine County Commissioner and Representative. I appreciate the public comments that we received today in the hearing and the many that we received via email. I think the board is aware. We've also heard from the hospitals about the grave situation that we're in right now. We have some of the highest cases of COVID in the state and in the nation, and I believe that something does need to be done. I think that there's a lot of misinformation. If you look at the scientific information, there's significant evidence that wearing face coverings helps protect those around you from getting sick. If you're sick, I believe it's an important public health measure, and I believe it's our responsibility as a public health district to mandate this. The governor has said repeatedly, even when we've asked him to do so, that it really is the responsibility of this board, and I hope that this board will take that action today. I'm prepared to do so.
Thank you. Camas County. Pam?
Hi, I'm Pam Jones from Camas County, and I really do appreciate all those who have written in comments and all those who spoke today. I hear your concerns. I also hear the concerns of our healthcare workers, and I know that we're in desperate times and we need desperate measures. I also hear the concerns about the penalties, and those are concerns I share with you and would like to discuss more. Thank you.
Thank you. Cassia County, Bob?
I listened to the people who.
Could you drop your mask off?
I listened to the people who gave their afternoon of time, came in. I personally have felt that masks don't do anything for us. Maybe if they were properly worn, but I don't think that the masks are going to solve our problem. Part of our problem, we test thousands more people every day, and we find thousands more positive cases. Now, if they won't tell us how many we test nationwide, we don't even know what the true percentages are. I'm of the belief that due to the fact our hospitals, we're overloaded in our hospital because we only have 3 rooms that are allowed for COVID in the Rupert Hospital. We don't know about all the other hospitals, but I have decided how I'm going to handle this.
Gooding County, Helen?
Yes, this is Helen. And my biggest concern is the overload on the hospitals. But I will hold my vote until such time as we take that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Lincoln County, Roy?
I vote no.
We're not voting, Roy. We just want your comments.
Yeah, all you do is just tell us what you think.
Oh, okay. I'll go. You know, I've done a lot of research, called doctors, nurses, hospitals, and you get different answers for at different times. I had one person that mentioned we need to persuade. And a lot of you are probably not old enough to remember the song Friendly Persuasion. I would like to emphasize friendly persuasion rather than force.
Okay, thank you. Minidoka County, Tracy?
Yes, this is Tracy. And again, I want to thank the public for their input. I know we didn't get a chance to hear from everybody that was at the office today, but many of us have received several emails and phone calls from those who wanted to have a say in this. And so I do appreciate, especially those who have been respectful and dignified. As a Board of Health member, I do not take this lightly at all. It's been a task given to me by the Idaho legislator that says, do all things required for the preservation and protection of the public health. We've been in this pandemic now for several months. We've continued to see an increase in the positivity rates and the death toll from the virus. We as a board have heard from several healthcare professionals over the past several months regarding the hospitals being stretched to their max and staff shortages also. We as a Board of Health, we need to do something. We need to take a stand. We've tried the education route. We've tried suggesting that individuals take personal responsibility. We've strongly suggested the wearing of face coverings, yet nothing has worked. We need to step up. We need to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. And my decision today, when we vote, will be based on facts and science. I too have read many, many, many things about this virus, and I've tried to decide what is scientific and what is opinion. So, and it's not about rights or liberties, it's about public health. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Twin Falls County, Commissioner Rienke.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to also thank all those that came to participate. Last week when we had our meeting, I made a motion to allow us to hear from the public, and this is what we've been hearing for quite some time here in Twin Falls. And it's a slippery slope from my perspective. I can't separate the medical side from the individual liberty side, because when you look at the challenge we're going to be facing if we were to pass this, we are going to have people that are going to deliberately violate this situation, this order. And then we're going to be facing penalties, or we're going to be facing jail time, and I think it's counterproductive. I think it's a very, very, very dangerous slippery slope. I think we're pitting our people, especially here in my county, against each other, and I just can't stand for that. We need to find ways to continue this effort of education, not mandating. It is a liberty issue, whether we want to look at it that way or not. In my opinion, it is, and I think it's something that we need to take to heart. People are the amount of fatigue, COVID fatigue that's here is serious. There's no question about that. But I think we need to be very mindful of the authority and the power that we possess this afternoon. And we need to be very careful as we move forward, whichever direction it may be, because people need to trust this Board of Health. This effort in Twin Falls County and all 8 of our counties is really important. And we do some incredible work on a day in, day out basis. That's our staff do. And if we vote one way, they get a message. The frontline workers get a message. If we vote another way, then there's another message to be sent. I'm concerned about that. I can tell you that at this point, it is a liberty issue for Twin Falls County. It is a concern about $300 and possibility of 6 months in jail. But I got 50 people on the floor today in our county jail. We don't have enough space. So it's a serious concern for Twin Falls County.
Thank you. Dr. Davis, our medical consultant.
I appreciate the input from the public today, and I don't have any other comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of Jerome County, I definitely appreciate the manner in which the people came to testify and participate in our meeting has expressed. It's very important. Our staff has worked many long hours working with this, our tracers, our investigators, and this type of thing. I do want to remind everyone that the resolution that was passed in July by the Board of Health is still in force. So we are still strongly recommending. And as you are aware, we asked the governor to issue a state mandate. We have not had a response from his office. And I assume that he is going to go ahead with his press conference on Friday. There are many issues here, and that is the protection of others. We're told, and according to the messages in the chat room, the masks are to protect others. And yes, you have the option, but we also, and just for clarification, the amount of fine and such is in policy. And so our option for reducing or eliminating that is not eligible. So at this time, are there any other discussions from the board members?
Madam Chairman, maybe I just add one more comment?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you very much. As I said, I've spent hours and hours and hours researching this, had many phone calls, and there are so many businesses. We are probably the smallest county, agriculture county, and it's impossible for these businesses to function with masks. I give you just a couple of examples. The dairy people. There's no way that they can sprinkle cows wash cows without getting their masks wet. They cannot function that way. I've had many of them call me and say this. Our excavators that have to work in the trenches. We have those in our county. They said we cannot wear masks in the trenches over 5 minutes before we pass out. And so they cannot wear them. These are all things that, yes, we can make exceptions to those, but pretty soon we make all these exceptions and it's the same as not having a mandate. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments from the members of the board? Hearing none.
This is Pam. This is
Yes,
Pam.
go right ahead.
Yeah, from Camas County. If this mandate does pass, I do think that we need to increase our efforts to educate in a different way, and to invite also, as well as mandate participation from the counties. And because our county is a little ways out of the way up there, maybe we don't see as much of the education that you see down there, but maybe we can support our mayors and our commissioners and provide material that can be seen in the counties easily, either posters or things that would encourage us to do more, because I agree that masks aren't the only answer. It takes everything. It does take keeping up our immune systems. It takes distancing, and it is all about caring for those around us. I just think, like Mr. Renke, that we need to reach out and let the people know that we're working for them, all of them, not just one portion or the other, and that we're trying to save our medical resources so that all of us can access it in the future months. Thank you.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair.
Any other comments from the board?
Yes, Madam Chairman, this is Brent from Twin Falls County.
Go right ahead.
I'd like to make a motion, and I do not want to send a message to our frontline staff, our medical staff, our friends and our neighbors that they're not important to us. Because they are. The work that, as I mentioned a moment ago, we do here in public health is critically important, and the work that's happening in our hospitals and our healthcare frontline team is essential. But I would move that on Public Health Order 2020 1.12.2020, so it's 11/12/2020, A and B to the table. I would like to table both of these public orders that we're looking at today and leave them there.
I would second.
You want to table them indefinitely?
Yes.
Thank you. Is that a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second to Commissioner Renke's motion?
Seconded. Commissioner Kuhnel?
It's been moved by Brent Renke and seconded by Konu. And Yvonne, would you read the motion back, please, in its entirety?
Yes, so it was moved by Commissioner Brent Renke and seconded by Commissioner Bob Kuhnel to move on. The motion was made to table the Public Health Order 2020 11 and 12 A and B indefinitely.
Any discussion on the motion as read?
This is Pam, Madam Chairman. I just would like to ask what you mean by indefinitely. I think that we have to look at it at some time and either discuss alternatives or a better way, but I don't understand the indefinitely.
Commissioner Renke, would you answer that question, please?
I think if we do consider it, it would be a new document, it would be a new approach, it'd be something that we and the public could view, and we would have public comment on the next effort as well.
Thank you. Does that clarify your question, Pam?
Kinda.
And
Any other further comments on Janine?
yeah, this is Anjani. I feel really strongly that this is a very bad direction for our board to go in. I think I hear you, Commissioner Rinke, that you don't want to send a message to our hospitals, but that's exactly what we're doing with this if we pass this motion. We've heard very, very clearly from the medical community what they want us to do to protect the health and safety of our community. So to not take that action, I think is really a mistake.
Are there any other comments from the board?
Chair,
Yes,
this is
Tracy?
Tracy. Yes, I am also against the tabling of this. Again, I understand that we have a lot to consider here, and it seems like it's been a short time, but we know as a board that we have been discussing this for months, and I believe today an action needs to be taken, and we need to listen to those comments from the public, which we have done. We have also heard from medical staff in all of our local hospitals, and so we understand the dire situation they're in. So this tabling, I don't quite understand that either, and I think we need to take action today.
Are there any further comments from the board on Janine?
Yeah, I mean, I almost think that it would be better to have a motion. I mean, is this the intention of the motion to deny this? Because if that's the intention, then we should just be transparent. And it seems to me that that would be more appropriate.
Any further discussion? Any of those in favor of the motion to allow equal time? Hearing none, I call for the vote. Yvonne, would you call the roll, please? And before you do, would you reread the motion in its entirety?
Okay. Motion was made by Commissioner Brent Ranke and seconded by Commissioner Bob Kuna to table the Public Health Order 2020-11 and 12 A and B indefinitely. Blaine County,
Nay.
Please call the roll.
Camas County,
Nay.
Dutchess County,
Yes.
Gooding County.
Nay.
I'm sorry, Helen, what was that?
Nay.
Thank you. Jerome County,
Yes.
Lincoln County,
Yes.
Minidoka County,
Nay.
Twin Falls County,
Yes.
Medical Consultant,
Nay.
Miss Blaine County.
oh, I had already said Blaine County. You
Yeah,
voted
I was first, Linda.
Okay, sorry, what was your vote?
Nay.
nay.
Thank you. Yvonne, what is the count, please?
Five to 4 for the nays.
Motion goes down in defeat. Is there a second motion to be placed before the board?
I would make a motion, Bob Kuno, I would make a motion at this time that we do not adopt a mask mandate today until we have a little further time to find out how the vaccines work. I would say we table it for 1 month till, well, mid-January. At that point, we can reassemble. If we haven't got anything further on the vaccine, I would open for discussion again.
I would second that motion.
Okay, Bob, would you clarify your motion with a little fewer words, just the exact details, please, as to what you're wanting to do? You're wanting to table it for 1 month and then bring it back for consideration? Could you
both
simplify that, please?
we'll table both of them until our meeting date in January for evaluation between now and then to determine what happens with the vaccine.
And the second to that motion was Commissioner Renke, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Yvonne, would you read the motion back, please?
Okay, just a minute. Okay, so it was moved by Commissioner Bob Kuna and seconded by Commissioner Brent Ranke to table both public health orders until the January Board of Health meeting. And I didn't catch the end of that, Bob.
That's the time.
Okay.
And it'll be available for review at that time.
Okay.
Discussion at that meeting.
Any comments from the board?
Madam Chair, this is Tracy.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm going to say the same thing that I said on Commissioner Reinke's motion, is I don't believe we need to be tabling this today. We need to make a decision, a yes or a no decision today. And whichever way we go as a board, we need to decide that today.
Thank you. Any further comment from the board?
Yeah, I would comment that we've heard from both St. Luke's, Izanjni, and St. Al's that they will be in critical standards by December. And I think now is the time to take action. We've heard from the public. We understand the pros and cons, and we should take action. I agree with Tracy. One way or another, we need to take action today.
Thank you. Any other comment from the board?
Madam Chairman, this is,
Jerome? Go right ahead, Brent.
one of the concerns that I would have is the impact it's going to have on my county with the enforcement of such an order. The healthcare system is overrun. Well, the criminal justice system will now be overrun if we move ahead on this, because we are going to have a division with people. And I would strongly oppose anything but tabling this particular act because of the challenge we have. And we're far enough down the road where I think the unintended consequences are going to be very severe.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, I agree that we need to either put a mandate in place or not put a mandate in place. There's nothing that can prevent us from reviewing it at our meeting to see if it works or whatever. I agree with Commissioner Renke about the mandate affecting law enforcement, neighbors against neighbors, and this type of thing. So if you are in favor of tabling it, you will vote yes. If you oppose tabling it, you will vote no. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dr. Davis, did you have a comment?
No.
Thank you. Yvonne, would you reread the motion and may a roll call vote, please? Remember, voting yes tables it and no does not table it.
So the motion was made by Commissioner Bob Kuna and seconded by Commissioner Brent Ranke to table both public health orders until the January Board of Health meeting and be available to review at that time.
Please call the roll.
Blaine?
Nay.
Thomas?
Nay.
Kasia?
Yes.
Gooding?
Yes.
Jerome?
Nay.
Lincoln?
Yes.
Minidoka?
I vote no on tabling.
Twin Falls?
Yes.
Medical consultant?
Nay.
What is the count, please?
5-4 for the nays.
The motion to table is defeated. The chair would entertain a motion as to what action the board would like to take at this time. Is there any such motion as the action that desires to be taken?
Oh, I'm sorry, did my motion just go through, Linda, or no? Was
No,
I
it
on
did
mute?
not. No, you
Okay,
were on.
sorry. I
ahead.
apologize. I just read a motion.
That's fine. Go right
I
ahead.
move to approve South Central Public Health District Public Health Order number 2020-1B.
Is there a second to that motion?
Medical consultant, I'll second that.
Okay, it has been moved by Anjanine and seconded by Dr. Davis. Yvonne, would you please read the motion back?
Commissioner Anjanine McCleary, and the motion was made by Commissioner Anjanine McCleary, seconded by Dr. Davis, to approve the Public Health Order 2021-B.
Discussion by the board. Let's go alphabetical. Anjanine,
I chose B because I was trying to take into consideration all of the different counties and the things that I have heard. I think I would be supportive of more restrictions, but I am trying to be mindful of my fellow counties and really would like to see us pass this today. Thank you.
Camas County, Pam?
I would just like to see us, if we do pass it today, to continue to educate and improve our education and reach out to our counties to invite them to join us.
Cassia County, Bob?
I have made it clear in the previous two votes that I am not in favor of a mask mandate, so I cannot make a positive statement.
Helen, Gooding County?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As of yesterday, the Gooding County Commissioners have rescinded their support for the mandate, primarily because of the jail and the fine amounts. So I will be voting no on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Lincoln County, Roy?
No comment at this time.
Minidoka County?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Tracy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have looked at both of these health orders also, and I mean, there's certain things in here that I'm not sure about. If we put in too many exceptions, are we making a difference? But I also do try to take in consideration all of the comments that have been made today, yesterday, the day before, the last several days. I feel we need to take action today. So, but I do want to make this clear. I have been instructed by a split vote of my commissioners to vote no on this, but I will not be able to do that with a clear conscience. So I will be voting yes on this today.
Thank you. Twin Falls County, Commissioner Remke?
Madam Chairman, that's unfortunate that that's the case. The penalty of $300 and 6 months or 6 months and/or is really a concern. And I think that kind of lit a fuse for a lot of people. And I'm concerned about the $300 fine, especially if you're concerned about that here in Twin Falls County, When during a business day, our population grows by over 43%. And people come into this area in City of Twin Falls to work, for commerce, for trade, and it's going to be a tremendous challenge because I believe that if we pass this thing, there needs to be enforcement. And that's going to be the challenge. If we don't have any kind of enforcement, then it's not a mandate. It's a very strongly worded resolution. And so I think the enforcement piece of this is one of the things that really has me concerned. And again, I think this is a liberty issue. So it's something that we feel strongly about. I feel personally very strongly about, and I will not support the passage of this particular motion.
Thank you. Dr. Davis, our medical consultant?
No, I have no comment at this time.
Thank you. Jerome County, between the mayors and the county commissioners, I have been instructed to vote no mandate for the same reason of the fines and this type of things. So is there any further discussion from any of the board members? Hearing none, Yvonne, would you call the roll for the vote? And prior to that, would you read the motion?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so Commissioner Anthony McCleary made a motion. It was seconded by Dr. Keith Davis to approve the Public Health Order 2021-B. Roll call, Blaine County?
Just a moment
Yes.
before you begin the call, let's clarify. If you vote to approve this motion, you are putting a mandate in order. If you are opposed to the order on 2021-B, you will vote no. Thank you. Please continue with the roll call.
Okay, Blaine County?
Yes.
Camas County?
Yes.
Cassia County?
No.
Gooding County?
No.
Jerome County?
No.
Lincoln County?
No.
Minidoka County?
Yes.
Twin Falls County?
No.
Medical consultant?
Yes.
What is the result of the board vote?
5 to 4, no's.
This time the motion is defeated. There will be no mandate sent down from the South Century Public Health District. At this time, I would like to thank everyone for their participation, their research, those of you that took time to let us know your feelings, either in written form on our website or attending in person, and also looking at the comments and such that were given outside. I definitely appreciate the behavior of everyone in attendance and those online. All comments were kept very nice, and I appreciate that greatly. There being no other business before this body, I can adjourn the meeting.
Our constituents are speaking.
There's last time I counted, there was 200. And
This is Linda. I want to thank the staff for your help in this. I hope my mic's still on and you can hear me. We really appreciated your assistance with this. It went very smooth. Thank you.